Hey, everybody, this is the Wild Ass Podcast, and I am your host, Wild Ass Craig. This is episode 3, and in this episode, I get to introduce all of you to a man that is, we'll say, beyond an experienced long distance rider from Cypress, Texas. Over the last couple episodes, we've heard about the Hoka Hey Motorcycle Challenge, and I promise you that the Hoka Hey will not be the topic of every show, but it's going to come up again right now because today the honor of introducing all of you to Chris Hopper, but not before reading you his storied list of accomplishments. After completing the 2018 Hoka Hey, finishing in 9th place, Chris jumped headfirst into the long distance riding world. Since that ride in 2018, he has completed almost 100 Iron Butt Association certified rides and has averaged over 80,000 miles per year for the last 4 years. Just a few of his rides include the Bun Burner Gold, which is 1,500 miles completed in 24 hours. The 48 in 10, which is a ride touching all 48 states in less than 10 days. He's done numerous Saddle Sore 1000 rides, where you do 1,000 miles in 24 hours. He's done the 100 CCC, which is riding coast to coast to coast in less than 100 hours. Hopper has achieved Platinum Mile Eater status with enough rides completed to get him to Diamond status in the IBA. Hopper has ridden in all 48 states several times and enjoys stopping and seeing the sights this country has to provide. He is also a 2021 Iron Butt Rally finisher, finishing 24th place even after a massive penalty. He is one of only 10 people to date to have finished both an Iron Butt Rally and the Hoka Hey Motorcycle Challenge. In 2021, Hopper won a few things, so let's talk about them. First place in America's Ultimate Long Distance Rider with 952 points. First place in Mileage Maniacs with 146,699 points. First place in the Tour of Honor for the state of Texas. Hopper was the gold finisher in the Tour of Honor for 9/11 memorial sites visited, and also won first place in the Rever Apps Road Warrior Challenge. While all of these are epic accomplishments, the highlight ride of his career is this one. On July 27th, 2021, Chris Hopper attempted the ride nobody has done before, 100,000 miles in 100 days. He completed this ride with ease while raising money to fight Duchenne muscular dystrophy. He raised over $100,000 and was even able to take breaks and meet a few of the kids he was riding for. Hopper's total for 2021 was a mere 153,683 miles on motorcycles. Although Chris Hopper is an experienced long-distance rider, planning is not something he does. He prefers the wing it method of riding and enjoys zigzagging all over to various points of interest for photo opportunities. He's definitely living his goal, which is to die with more memories than dreams, and he's chasing them every day. With all that being said, I will stop talking now and get this guy into the conversation. Chris Hopper, welcome to the show.
Hey, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you here, and I thank you for joining me on episode 3, where we're still in new, relatively uncharted waters here in the podcast world for me.
Yeah. I'm glad to be here.
To give a little history, you and I actually met in Sturgis. I was introduced to you through Riot, who was the episode just before this one. Tell us a little bit about that. How did that come about?
Yeah, just you had seat cushion with a nice little note attached to it telling me how crazy I was. And then, after meeting up with Riot, we took a trip up there to come hang out with you guys for a little bit. I guess it was right before Sturgis actually kicked off, in real time, I guess. So stopped by there, seeing you guys, and that's the time we actually took a little break. We hung out and, chatted a little bit with you guys, went and had some lunch, messed around there, and I don't know, took a couple hours out of that day's riding to just kind of hang out.
Yeah, and I even got to ride with you a little bit, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
We both got a break that day, and I always like breaks when I'm working events. So thank you for stopping by. I've gotten to know a little bit. You're not much of a look at me guy. So I just want to say thank you for coming on here, because I know this is not something that is in your normal wheelhouse
Yeah, no,
of
it's all good.
making it about you. You're out of Texas. Is this where you grew up?
I was born in Oklahoma and actually grew up up in a little town up in the Panhandle, Texas. So yes,
So you haven't strayed terribly far from home.
no, not too far at all.
Tell us a little bit about your family. I've met your wife. Met her in Florida, in Panama City, at the after party. But do you have children? Do you have anything else going on?
Yeah, I got 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. They're all grown, 23, 22, and 21, or 24, 23, and 21. So they're all kind of doing their own thing. My oldest son does real estate as I do, so he's doing great. My other son just moved to Dallas a few months ago with his company. He's doing great. My daughter's going to school at Sam Houston.
Are they all motorcyclists? Is your whole family a family that rides?
No, my boys do. They've got some 4-wheelers and have had motorcycles and stuff. So, no street bikes or anything like that. Mostly just dirt bikes.
Well, that leads right into this next question because I know a little bit about this. But when and how did you start riding?
Yeah, just like most riders, I guess, started when I was a kid. Just growing up on dirt bikes, and my stepdad is a big time enduro guy, very accomplished, excellent rider. So I've kind of been around it, since I was young. So riding through the woods and trails, and never really been a motocross guy. Wasn't really my thing, but a lot of trail riding, that kind of stuff. Just dirt bikes, and just kind of progressed from there.
I think that seems to be real common. People grew up with they got their first mini bike, and then that just progressed into now they're riding on the road, where
Right.
it's a little more relaxed and less likely to cause injury.
Yeah, and I think
Probably
it actually comes in handy. I think the skills that I've learned, growing up on dirt bikes several times have come into play on street bikes. So I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. What was your first dirt bike? Do you remember?
I had a little 50 Indian, very first one, but then after that, it was a DR 100.
What was your first
Yeah.
road bike?
When I was younger, I had a Yamaha. I don't even remember what it was. Some little Yamaha that I had for a while. Didn't have it very long, but then started having kids and kind of got away from it. And then when the kids got grown, decided to go ahead and get another bike. So got a 2014 Limited and kind of went from there.
So 2014, you got yourself a Harley.
Right.
You mentioned in your bio that the 2018 Hoka Hey is what you got into this whole long distance scene. But before that, so then from 2014 to 2018, what kind of riding were you into? And then what made you even want to try the Hoka Hey?
Yeah, so I was still doing more than average riding. I wasn't a long distance rider. Wouldn't consider myself a long distance rider at all. Just, above average as far as mileage. I think I was doing 25,000 miles a year. Just, basically riding with friends, locally, some trips here and there, nothing major, but no long days or anything like that. And I knew I wanted to do an iron butt. So I was just kind of looking around the internet, trying to figure out, the rules and what all it entailed and all that. And somehow came across a thread that mentioned the Hoka Hey, and I'm a pretty competitive guy. And so I'm like, okay, well, why do 1,000 when you can do 10,000? Let's just go to the top. Everybody wants to fight the champ. So I'm like, yeah, let's just go right up there. Let me just see how I rank, see if I really am a rider. And it was late. It was only a couple of months before it started. So it was already full, and I registered, paid the fee, and every single day I was emailing Beth, hey, what do we got to do? Get me in, I know there's a way. They kept telling me I was on the wait list and it was full, and it was only like a couple of months away. So every day I'm emailing, hey, what do we got to do? I'll pay double. I know there's a way, just let me know what it is. I'll make it happen. And eventually, I guess, spot opened up and I finally got in. And yeah, when I got there and showed up, I realized that I had no clue what I was getting into, and I was in way over my head because there were no get-togethers like since then. I hadn't been to anything. I didn't know anybody that had done it. Didn't know anything at all. So it was
No
quite eye-opening and shocking what I was getting into.
You still, according to your bio, finished 9th. So what, when you got there, that big wow factor, what was it? What was what hit you the hardest? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, just seeing all the bikes lined up with all the equipment, all the extra lights and tank bags and outfitted with everything, and just seeing all the people's gear and all that. I wasn't wearing gear at that time, just jeans and a shirt, and it was basically stock bike. And so the 2018 okay, I did complete stock, stock lights. I didn't have any auxiliary lights or anything like that, any climb gear, anything like that. Just so yeah, I was like, these people are in a whole different league. There's no way I'm going to be able to compete with this. I have no idea what's going on. And again, I didn't really know anything about it, so I really thought it was just a ride to where, because I still didn't know anything about long distance riding at the time, so I didn't know people are riding 24 hours at a time. I just thought it was hey, let's go ride 8 to 10 hours, and everyone's going to stop and go to sleep, get a good night's sleep, get up in the morning, and have breakfast, and then take off again, and yeah. So I realized after a couple of days that's not how that works.
I can imagine your thought process there. That first, getting there. I'm assuming you were talking to people and introducing yourself and chatting with these guys and their stories, right? Or no?
Yeah, a little bit, but it just there's not a whole lot of time, and I didn't really know anyone, so wasn't real sure who to talk to, and I didn't want to talk to the wrong person. I'd rather talk to nobody than talk to the wrong person.
Sure.
Get bad information to start with. So it's
Yeah.
kind of trying to feel out, okay, who really knows what they're talking about, and trying to figure out who I need to talk to, and so I got a few pointers. I probably made, no lie, probably made 10 or 12 trips to different stores, picking up little stuff that I'd see on somebody's bike, the things that I could get, just buying up little stuff just to try to get half-ass prepared.
Sure. So did you know going in that you had to sleep outside?
Yeah, I knew that,
Okay.
and that's what I thought it was just a thing to where, like I said, I mean, I even brought like I had like 2 or 3 like little plastic hanging lights, because I thought, okay, I brought my computer because I'm like, okay, at nighttime I'll just hang my light in my tent. I'll be able to get a little work done on the computer because before I go to bed and all that. Because again, I didn't know about it was balls to the wall 24/7. I thought like I said, just 8 to 10 hours of riding and then get a good night's sleep.
Sure.
So yeah, yeah, like I said, took a couple of days of riding to figure that out. Then I got on board.
It's a very, very quick learning curve.
Yeah.
But I think what that states is you can get on there with a completely stock bike with stock lights, and you can still finish and do fairly. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if now you could still do as well. Maybe. I guess I don't know. I haven't done
you
it,
could.
but you can do it. That's the main
absolutely.
thing. You can do it. So
yeah, you can do it.
That's cool.
Yeah, I didn't know how unsafe it was at the time.
Sure. So your advice is lots of light.
Yeah,
because
well, definitely makes a difference. Yeah, either lots of lights or no sense. Either one works.
Yep. Oh, that's good. What surprised me, and I even had to double check with you, your list of rides since that event in 2018 is more than I can even fathom. But to cram all that in 3 years, essentially, pushes me right to the question, what is it you do for work and how can you afford this amount of time off?
Yeah, I'm lucky there. I'm a full-time real estate investor, so I have a bunch of rental properties, and I can pretty much work from anywhere. I've got crews and systems in place to where I can buy houses with remotely, sight unseen and stuff, and just kind of get my crews to take care of them and stuff. So I really don't have to be that hands-on as much. So I am lucky to have a lot of free time to take care, do stuff like this.
No, and that's cool. We talked about that a little bit when we were in Sturgis, and that just floored me that that's a thing, and I just think it's so cool. So I'm happy you get to do that. I've been half-assed following you, even before I realized who you were through the different long distance rider pages and stuff on Facebook. And I didn't realize it at first, but you're the guy that writes your name in each state. You map it out and spell your name on the tracking device, right?
That's me.
That is you. Would you like to tell us about this practice, how you go about it, how it started, and how you plan for that?
Yeah, I was just kind of one of those things. I was just sitting around thinking that trying to come up with something different. And I don't know, got this wild idea to write my name across the state of Texas. And as I'm mapping it out, I was just assuming it'd be, 300-400 miles or whatever. When I mapped it out really nice, some nice roads, and where it was really, you could really read it. It just stood out. It was like 1,498 miles, I think it was. So it was right at 1,500 miles. Ooh, a little bit longer than what I thought, but I went and wrote it and actually turned it into a BBG while I was doing it. And after I did that one, then I got the wild idea to, hey, why don't I just do this in every state? And kind of took off from there. And every one I've ridden has been during a certified ride, so either saddle sore or BBG.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I think I'm at 18 or 19 states now. I had initially planned to knock them all out in 2 years. Then, everything else keeps coming up and other rides and contests, and just, I kind of keep pushing it back. It kind of keeps going to the back burner. So I've knocked out the majority of the really nice big states where you can do it nice. So, the East Coast is going to be, that's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be really small. So I just haven't put a lot of effort into those out there because it just wouldn't be that fun. But I will get to them.
Do you have a website, or is there a place we can go see these pictures? Because I think I've seen most of them, but they're pretty
I don't have
impressive.
I don't have a website or anything. I guess should probably do that. But no, I've got a lot of them on my page and my pictures, and I just kind of post them as I do them. But I don't have them loaded up anywhere.
Okay. Yeah, I have like a photo album I didn't check your Facebook page to see if you had a photo album of your states.
Yeah, I need
yeah.
to do that. I can add I can add an album with all the states in it.
Yeah, I was just curious because I think that people they'd look at that and go, "No way, that's really cool."
Yeah,
What tracking?
they put it in the Hog magazine. I guess it was last year sometime as well. So there's a few of them in there too.
Okay. What tracking? Isn't it a phone app you're using to do this?
I use so when I do my names, I've found out the hard way that it just seems like Murphy's Law when I'm doing them that an app will crash. So when I'm doing my name rides, I set up 3 different trackers on 2 different phones just to make sure, because one of them's bound to record the whole ride. So I do Spot Walla, obviously, but Spot Walla is, if you know about it, it only drops a pin every few minutes. So if you're making a lot of turns in that, sometimes it doesn't keep track of the whole name. It cuts it off and just goes from point to point.
Oh, sure.
So I have a couple of other ones that I run. I use the biggest one I like. What is it called? Riser. That's probably the best one for tracking it. And then I use ESR, which is Eat, Sleep, Ride. And then I do the Harley one.
Was that Rever you were thinking of?
Rever, yeah, I use Rever too.
Oh, so Riser's a different one?
Riser's a different one, yeah. I like the track that Riser does. The problem with Rever, and everyone knows occasionally it just shuts off. It records your miles, but you got to restart it. With Riser, if it shuts off, which it does as well, when you restart it, it continues where it left off. So it catches up, so it doesn't mess up the name or anything. That's the main reason why I like it. So
okay, yeah,
I guess it's still tracking in the background or whatever, but yeah, if it does cut off, you don't lose anything.
So that's 2 tracking apps I have never heard of, is Riser and ESR. So I'll have to look into those for myself.
Yeah. Riser's really good. I really like it.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that one. Talking about the names, you spelled out in the 100 on the 100 in 100. You spelled out Jamesy's name, and that, if I remember correctly, went all the way from like Iowa and Nebraska, all the way, or Iowa and Missouri, I think it went all the way east to Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania. Tell us about that ride.
Yeah, that's actually the biggest name ride that I've done, and I actually wrote that one backwards, just hoping that people wouldn't catch on because everyone was following on the track or whatever. So I really didn't want that to get out until it was time for me to announce it. I didn't want somebody saying, "Hey, look what's going on." So I wrote it backwards. I had rode around a bunch on purpose, kind of in that area, just to create a bunch of lines that I'd be riding through. So hopefully it would get obscured. No one would see what was going on. Yeah, started that one backwards. That was the biggest one I've done as far as a name, and that was like 4,400 miles. And I messed that one up when I took my rest break, I think it was on the last three letters. So JAM, I messed up on the M and just had to completely route, the M and then the A and then the J on the fly while I was going. So that was kind of a nightmare.
It's spelled out and it looked good on the map though.
Yeah, it looked better if it was the original way, but yeah, it still worked out. Still worked out good.
I didn't realize that you threw a bunch of lines in there in the beginning to screw with people. That's good. So that ride took a lot more planning than even we would probably have assumed.
Well, it wasn't planned that way up front. I had ridden in that area, and then when I figured out where I wanted to do the name, I kind of looked at the map. I'm like, oh, you know what? And that's when it kind of hit me. I'm like, let me go do another day or two kind of in that area just to get a few more squigglies in there,
sure,
to hopefully camouflage it. So, yeah, wasn't set up originally until I saw where I was going. Then I got the bright idea to do that.
That's cool. You mentioned in your bio that in the 21 Iron Butt Rally that you got yourself a pretty good penalty. Kind of a two-part question, because I would consider myself very new to the long distance riding community. In fact, probably not even qualified. How would you explain an Iron Butt Rally? And that being said, what were you penalized for?
Yeah, the Iron Butt Rally is just like any other rally, just on a grander scale. Basically a scavenger hunt. There was three different legs, and each leg you're given the rally book that has the point of interest. Each worth a different amount of points, and you just got to figure out how to plot your route to accumulate the most points and get to the checkpoint, on time. You have a small time window when you have to arrive, so it's just one of those things that takes a lot of planning and all that, which is not my strong suit whatsoever. So, if you can plan good, if your skills on riding are lacking, you can more than make up for it with good planning. So, yeah, penalty wise, you can't be on social media when you're doing the Iron Butt Rally, I guess, for safety reasons. And even though I was on my rest break, I jumped on to wish somebody happy birthday and got penalized for that. So,
really, that's
yeah,
all it was?
Yeah. No social media means no social media. So during rest break or not. So yeah. I think it was I don't remember what it was, 15 or 18,000 point penalty or something. It was big.
Wow. So that 15 or 18,000, what was the point total? If you had gotten those points back, where would you have finished?
I think it cost me one or two spots. I mean, it wasn't it wasn't like I'd have, been in the top 10 or anything like that. I don't think, but I don't remember what it was. It really didn't matter. I glanced at it, but didn't put a whole lot of effort into it.
Yep. Yeah. So for somebody's birthday, you gave them a great penalty in an Iron Butt Rally.
Yeah. It was another IBA rider. So yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. In 2021, you did a total of a little over 153,000 miles, right?
Yes.
So 100,000 of that was in a 100-day stretch. So according to my math, that leaves me to question, with 53,000 miles, what the hell did you do for the other 212 days?
Yeah, that 53 was spread out a little bit. So, and I'm sure you saw the post to where I really thought I was closer to 80 instead of 50.
Yeah.
But after going back and looking, I knew I had a big January, but I thought I had a decent February as well. But I guess my, checking where the mileage was on my bike, I was trying to back into it, remember, but November and December of the previous year were big months as well. So that's where the majority or a big chunk of the miles came from. So I was less than what I thought I was. Like I said, I thought it was closer to 80,000, which I was really going to make a push to get 200. After looking at it, I realized I was at 50. I'm like, there's still a shot. I might be able to pull it off. But then, I got COVID as soon as I got back, and that kind of put a damper on things, and that put me so far behind work-wise and everything. There was no way I was going to be able to pull it off.
So you, I don't think I have that in my notes, but you catching COVID right after your ride. Also, did that take you out of your own rally, or you weren't like, we had to switch the party for that, right?
Yeah, that. So my rally was going on that weekend, and luckily I had some people, Kim and my wife stepped in and kind of took it over, and still kept it a successful rally. They ran things. I was able to be at home and I was able to do the scoring, but they took care of all the in-person stuff for me.
So talk
So
about your rally. What is that? What's involved in that? Is it something you do every year?
it is. That was, I guess, the third one. Hops Rally. You can find it on Facebook. Just look for Hops Rally. I kind of started it just as more for beginners, and not that I'm the great rally rider at all. But obviously, I know the concept. So basically, just a way to get more people involved in it. I mean, I like rallies. I like the concept. I'm just not good at them because I don't like the planning that's involved to be really good and successful at them. It's not my strong
Sure.
suit. So I just kind of started mine. It's really cheap, really inexpensive. It's all in Texas. It's just a little short. I've done a couple different ones. I did an 8 and a 12, and then the last couple have been like 30 hours. So, it's just a way to get new people involved, very inexpensive way to where, if you're looking to get into the rally world and do some of the really nice big rallies out there, but you're not sure, how they work or rules or anything like that, then mine's a perfect one to come, just kind of get your feet wet, figure out what it's all about, see how they work, and then catapult into some of the really nice ones.
So you said 8, 12, 30 hours. So I'm a brand new rider. I want to try a rally thing. Yours, is it always in September? Was that when it was supposed to be?
November.
October.
Yeah,
Okay.
November.
So it's November, and I want to go try this rally. Talk me through Hops Rally.
I put the information out there just like any other rally, and when you register, then I send out the rally packets usually the 1 or 2 days before, day and a half before, give you a full day to plan your route and put everything together, and then we usually take off on a Friday morning, anywhere between 6 to 9 o'clock, depending on how many hours it's going to be and what time I want the finish to be.
Mm-hmm.
And there's obviously a rest bonus in there too for everyone to get some sleep. You're not just riding a straight 30 hours, and all over Texas, and then make it back at a certain time, usually in the afternoon, anywhere between 3 and 6 o'clock.
Okay, so everybody would meet up at, say, your local Harley dealer, which we have to get a mention from them here in a little bit. But so everybody meets up. Is that where it starts?
Yeah. Starts at
okay.
Republic Harley Davidson. They're my home dealer. They're very supportive of my riding and everything I do, and of my rally. They put up a lot of money for the rally. Like I said, my rally's inexpensive. I think this year is $55, and that included a full cooked in front of you hibachi meal. So basically, you're paying for a hibachi meal and getting a free rally. Is what it was this year. So yeah, they're really supportive on that, and all the proceeds went to Toys for Tots. I'd kind of pick a charity for everything to go to each year, and this year it was Toys for Tots. You meet up and then go over a few different rules or whatever, and then any last minute conversations, and then everyone takes off.
And everyone takes off, and they basically have a scavenger hunt book that they have to figure out how to collect, and each thing they collect is one set amount of points, right?
Yes, yeah. Each spot obviously depending on either how far away it is, how hard it is to get to, or if it's something I really want you to go check out. You try to steer people certain directions, or my rallies I really try to gear more towards, hey, I want you to go ride this road. So I know if you go get these couple of points around here, it's going to force you to get on this road.
Sure.
So I kind of look at that. And this year I kind of changed it up a little bit and actually made roads worth points. So like, hey, if you ride from point A to point B on this road, it's worth X amount of points.
Okay. So they go out, they scavenger hunt, they get their points, they find a place to rest, they scavenger hunt, collect their points, and they have to be back within a certain window of time or by a certain time.
By a certain time. I think this year, it was 3 o'clock. 3 or 4 o'clock. Yeah, you have to be back by that time. After that, then if you're late, 50% of your points. You lose 50% of your points.
Dang.
Some of the rallies are you're just DNF. You get nothing.
Yep.
So that's one thing in the rally world is get back on time. That's one of the most important things.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't want to and I am incredibly dumbing it down mostly for myself, but for those of us that don't know how these rallies work, because in my world, when we go work a rally, we're working a rally. I mean,
Right.
you've seen what we do. We set up our stuff and we sell our goods and everybody comes to us. That's the rally.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. In the motorcycle world, there's that rally, and then there's a riding rally. Like this kind of stuff. So my rally, you've got Heart of Texas rally, Iron Butt rally. North by Northwest. I mean, there's all just different kinds of rallies. A lot of people have different rallies all across the country, and there's some really great stuff out there. So, Heart of Texas rally is a really great rally. Paul Tong runs that one out of College Station area. Probably one of the top ones out there. And like I said, if somebody wants to jump into that, but they want a practice or just kind of, if it's the first one, they want to learn how to do it. That's kind of where mine comes into play. Mine's not as complicated or in depth as some of these bigger ones. I try to just keep it pretty simple, just to kind of let everyone get the concept down.
No, it's very cool. And that's a good way to get people started. So for those of you listening, if you haven't ever done a rally, and this seems like a good one to try, which it seems to me like a good first rally, go to Hops Rally on Facebook, right?
Yeah. We had quite a few first-time rally riders this year, and I'm really bummed that I wasn't there to talk to them all. So I'm hoping some of those guys step up now and go ride the Heart of Texas rally, which I think registration's open on that one. So hopefully they'll go ride that one, and they'll see that that rally's 100 times better than mine. So they'll have if you had fun in mine, you'll have just an amazing time in that one.
Sure.
And if you hated mine, go ride that one, and you'll have an amazing time and see how horrible mine really was.
I have a feeling you're not giving yourself enough credit. So and first times for everybody when it comes to these types of events are usually the most memorable, because you don't do anything right. And if you have the imperfect rally, for me to come and not do anything right at it probably seems like a pretty good fit. So I'm guessing most people have a pretty good time, especially if it's their first time.
Yeah, they're a good time, and I mentioned the planning earlier, and if anyone's out there who's wanting to get into rallying, but they're kind of the same as me and not real good at planning, you can still wing it. I mean, you have a map, you have a Google map with all the locations on there, so you can just click on one and go point to point, and just get however many points you can, just to have fun and have a good time, to see some cool stuff out there. It's not absolutely required that you sit down and plan out this complicated massive route or anything. You can just dumb it down to just, I'm not going to put anything on paper, I'm just going to click on this one because it's the closest one to me and go get it, then just keep getting the next closest one until it's time to go back to the end spot, to the checkpoint. So which is a lot of times what I do. I try to plan a little bit, but it seems like even before I get to the first bonus location, I've already changed it up. So then I'm just kind of winging it on the fly, which is, a little frustrating, but it seems to happen on every single rally. So
how does that work with the Hoka Hay then? Knowing how that route does that work to your favor because you don't have to plan any of it?
Well, everyone's on the same playing field then. No one, you don't get to plan. You don't see anything. I mean, when you line up to start is when you get the directions. So it's everyone's on the same playing field. There's no advantages.
Okay, so the inability to plan is more, instead of saying it that way, it's probably looking for the advantage and always changing your plan during these rallies.
Yeah. There's if you're good at base camp in some of those other programs out there, as far as how to put a route together, you could do good at routing, and I'm not good. I don't know base camp. It's just not. And I just don't like sitting there planning stuff out. I don't know if it's ADD or what, but I just kind of lose interest.
Sure.
After about 5 minutes. So then I just jump on the bike and go.
That's funny. If you don't mind, if you haven't talked enough about doing the 100 and 100 already, we talk about that for just a little bit.
Sure.
So I have to assume You've been on some podcasts. In fact, I know you have, but which ones have you been on so far?
Oh man, I knew you were gonna ask that. Let me think here for a second. What was the name of it? Motorcycle Mayhem Radio, Motorcycle Misfits. Been on Denver Woods. His
Yeah,
what is it?
on the V Twin Live.
V Twin Life.
Yeah.
And I think there was one or two more that I
Okay.
name escaped me.
Yeah, that's fine. And I know you joined me on the Wild Ass Wednesday video on Facebook. So all of those podcasts have been because of the 100 and 100,
Yes.
basically. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a nobody without that.
Which just, I mean, that really put your name on the map. Is that what we could say?
I guess.
So talking about the 100 and 100, being the self-proclaimed wing it guy, doing 100 days straight, I don't care how much you don't want to plan it, has to take some planning. So how much planning went into the ride? And I don't mean like route and this and that, but to do this ride, how much planning actually went into it before you actually started on the 27th of July?
I mean, really not a whole lot. I mean, I knew I was going to get a new bike specifically for that, and it was just getting the bike set up, which I set the bike up the exact same way as my other bikes. I didn't do anything other than I added the Olin shocks. I didn't have the Olins on my previous bike, so that was really the only change. But there's really no other planning other than just trying to get a few little work details planned out and make sure I was covered there. But as far as riding, it was just another ride. I didn't want to put a whole lot of focus into anything like that and just kind of overwhelm myself and not be able to pull it off. So I just tried to keep it as, hey, it's just another ride. I mean, okay, all I got to do is 1,000 miles today. When I wake up, okay, all I got to do is 1,000 miles. I never looked at, okay, I'm 10,000 miles in, I'm 11,000 miles in. All I had to do was 1,000 miles each day, and that's the mindset I tried to stay in.
Sure. So leading up to it, like I know you had put this together with the Mile Monsters to be a fundraiser for them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming you had to look at a calendar and go, okay, where is this going to fall into place? I need to leave on this day. Or did that not really happen?
A little bit. So when I initially thought of it, and a lot of people have talked about the ride, over the years. It's been kicked around by tons of long distance riders, and I wanted to do it in 2020, but Hoka the way it got pushed back kind of to August or whatever, or July. I knew it was going to be later in the year, which would give me some weather issues. So I said, okay, well, I'll put it off another year. And then I knew I was going to be riding the IBR. So I just said, as soon as the IBR is done, I'm just going to take off. I know I'll be taking off in July. So as soon as the IBR was done, rested up a few days and took off.
Okay.
I planned out my first day as far as routing, just because my number one goal was I wanted to get up and get through Beartooth, just because, that's subject to being shut down at any given day, with weather, if it gets tons of snow or whatever. So I just want to get up in that area, get that knocked out. And then from there, I had nothing planned at all.
Was this your first time over Beartooth?
Yes.
I have. It seems like I've been in it by a vehicle,
and
the road was terrible. On the bike, was it or not yet?
No. It was fine. It was a good ride. It was a fun ride.
And I can't remember. I think it was all paved, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I vaguely remember it. So,
yep.
But yeah, I didn't know. I didn't realize this was your first time over Beartooth Pass.
Yeah. I was actually supposed to meet up with Riot there, and he was coming from the other direction, and some road, I guess through Yellowstone, was closed, so he had to backtrack and go all the way around. And then we finally met up later on that evening. But we weren't going to meet up. I was like, all right, I'll just catch up with you tomorrow, because I was tired, middle of the night. So I'm going to go, I'm going to go get some sleep. And I won't say who or anything, but just I was so tired, and I had done like 1,600 miles that first day, just trying to bank some time, being fresh, obviously, just like anyone would do. When I rolled into the campground, I realized it was in the middle of an MC's, a motorcycle club's they kind of had the whole thing for a get together.
Oh,
So I realized that, that wasn't the place I needed to be, wearing my Hoka Hay patch or whatever. So I just kind of put everything on the bike and got out of there. Then I did go meet up with Riot.
you got a few extra miles in the first night.
Yeah. Definitely unplanned ones. Yeah.
Yeah. That being said, whenever I talk to kids that do things like little kids, let's just say they take a road trip, they do this, they do that. Oftentimes, the comment is, "Oh, it was so much time in the car. It was this and that." And I've never heard you say, "Oh my God, it was so much time on the bike." But I'm still going to ask you this question to kind of, I do this with children to get them to start looking at the positive stuff. What was your favorite part of the trip, or the coolest thing you saw?
Everyone asked that, and it was just, I don't think there's really one particular thing. Each thing I saw, and as I posted a lot of stuff and documented. I mean, I saw just tons of amazing sights and things like that. There's quite a few that stand out, and for various reasons. I don't know that I could put my finger on one. I guess if I was just absolutely forced to say what was the coolest thing I saw, I'd probably have to say the Grotto of Redemption in Iowa. I don't know, for whatever reason, I had a good time walking around there, checking that thing out. Went to the Ark. That was cool. That's when Ken Andrews was riding with me. Made him make a little pit stop with me, and we walked around there for a few hours. That was good.
That place is pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very, very cool. So I definitely going to go back there and spend a little more time. He was rushing me through, so I didn't get to enjoy it as much as I wanted to.
The Grotto of Redemption is on my list.
Yeah.
After hearing you said it here, you said it on the Facebook show. That is something I want to hit this spring on one of my practice rides. I want to go see that. So looking forward to it.
And there's just tons of stuff out there. Like I said, I mean, I just saw just so many amazing things. And then, having the people come out and ride with me, that was really nice. Just, I mean, the whole ride overall was just amazing. Set up that I did it with ease, and I kind of laughed about that. I don't know about with ease, but yeah, we got it done.
Saying did it with ease, I was one of many people watching. And when you got to that last week, and it was like, and you and I had been texting back and forth throughout, and I'm like, God, don't break down. Don't have a bike failure. Don't have a tire failure. It's like
right.
Really hoping, and I didn't want to bring anything up. I didn't want to curse it, but I thought you did it with ease. That being said, you had one day where you just weren't feeling it. Can you tell us about that? And then for any new riders, how do they get through this same thing? I think you know the day I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like starting out. So, I mean, going back to like the 2018 Hoka Hay, I didn't know what I was doing. And you just, push your body and push your body and push your body. And, I think I had 3 times where I hallucinated on that ride, which obviously meant I was kind of going too far. So over time, over the last few years, I've got to where, I know my body, and I know, I know when it's time to shut it down before I get too far. And that's kind of on that particular day. That was my lowest day. I think I only did 600 miles that day. Not even like, just under 6, but I couldn't go. I was finding a reason to stop like every 100 miles, whether it be just gas or just literally just get off the bike and, sit down on the side of the road or whatever. And I just knew, okay, my body's just it's not up for it. There's no sense in pushing, that I definitely don't have another 500, 600 miles in me to hit the 1,000. So it's best to just shut it down. I'm kind of running some numbers, and okay, I figured I could make it up over the next 3 or 4 days, just by riding a little extra. And it was the right decision. I mean, I got a great night's sleep, woke up refreshed, and, felt brand new and ready to go. It made all the difference in the world.
Yeah. So talk about, if somebody new wants to start riding long distance, and it's funny to ask somebody like you this question. And the reason I say that is because you ride like 1,000 miles a day. If a guy rides 500 miles a day and he starts to get to this point where he just wants to stop and put his bike away, advise somebody how you deal with that, handle it, and move forward so you don't have to, yes, you have to stop, take a break, but how do you not let that frustrate you if you're trying to get into longer rides?
Yeah, it's a big mental game. That's what it is. I joke with people like when I'm getting on to do 1,000 or 1,500 mile ride, no problem at all. I feel great, nothing at all. If I'm riding around town, just doing a little bar hopping on a weekend with friends or whatever, my ass always hurts. So it's just that mental game of you got to block everything out and just focus on the goal and what you want to do, and then you got to figure out how to push through that. And I tell people, for me, there's a difference between tired and sleepy. You can push through tired, you can't push
Hmm.
through sleepy. And once you figure out that difference, then that's when you get to that next level. Everyone's going to get tired after 300 or 400 miles on a motorcycle, no matter
Sure.
how experienced you are. But the experienced guy knows, okay, I just need to get another 1, 2, or 3 hours, or 100, 200 miles into it, and I'll break through and get over that hump and get that extra burst of energy, get that second wind, whatever it is, and that will carry you, hours for hours to finish that ride. But once you do that, if you do that multiple days in a row, and now you're getting tired, and you just, when you can't keep your eyes open or rolling back in your head, whatever, just you got to know when you're sleepy, and that's not something you can push through, and that's when you got to shut it down.
I've never heard it explained that way, yet it makes perfect sense. The difference between tired and sleepy.
Yeah, it works for me. I don't know,
Yeah.
ride your ride, and that's the thing that everyone says, and it's true. You have to ride your ride. How I ride may not work for you. You
Right.
have to figure out your own way, and that's what I tell people. I mean, so and I've used this example before, but if I said right now, hey, could you could you jump up right now, exactly how you're dressed, and go run a marathon? What would you say? Whatever you're wearing right now.
Me
Yeah,
personally,
yeah.
I would say yes.
Okay, well, all right.
And the reason I
For
say that is because I take out all of the fact that I'm wearing jeans and a hoodie and I would be uncomfortable as shit. But could I do it? Yes.
yeah, well,
Would
I
I
mean,
be fast? No.
yeah. So the average person, all right. So just put a time limit on you. Could you do it in 6 hours?
No.
No. All right. So all right. So what if you were guaranteed, a $30 million check if you finished it in 6 hours? You'd sure get up
I'd
and give it
figure
your
it
best
out.
shot.
Yeah.
I mean, now you've got some motivation,
Yeah.
and that makes a big difference. So, and that's kind of what it is. You just have to find that whatever motivates you to finish that goal. And for me, it was just I wanted to do it.
Yep.
And that's any ride. I don't want to fail. I'm starting it, so I don't want to fail. I want to finish it. So whatever that motivation is for you, you have to find it, and that's riding your own ride. You have to push as hard as you can, safely, and figure out your body, and figure out, if 800 miles is all you can do, then that's it. There's
Sure.
more in there. You just got to figure out how to get through it and what's going to carry you. You might only have another 100 miles or 200 miles, but you've got more in you. You just got to dig a little deeper.
Sure. On these rides, these long rides like this, and maybe this doesn't affect you, but how did you deal, or how do you deal with the solitude or the boredom that would come with the long ride like this?
There's really not a lot of it. I mean, obviously anyone just kind of riding any type of ride, you're pretty much by yourself. So this is just a little bit longer time. But with music, I've got voice to text, so I can still do some work. Answer emails, texting, especially on this ride. I mean, people were texting me or messaging me all the time, so I was kind of always occupied.
Sure.
Always something going on. So if it's something I couldn't handle then, when I stopped to get gas or eat, I could, I was always catching up on that stuff. So it was really just, my mind was just always focused on something, other than, hey, I'm tired or I'm hurting. I mean,
Yeah.
I was hurting every day, but just with worrying about everything else, or concentrating on everything else. Hey, where am I going? What do I want to see? Let me answer these messages. Let me talk to somebody. I just kind of kept pushing that out of my mind, focused on that. So it wasn't just sitting there in
Um.
dead silence,
Yeah.
worrying about, how bad everything is.
Right. Yeah, that helps a lot too, doesn't it? Not not thinking about that.
Yeah.
How many run-ins with the law did you have? Or
Quite a few. more than I thought. 14, stopped 14 times, 3 tickets.
So 14 times. So 3 tickets. That's the big thing. We all laugh at the 14 times because it's kind of funny, but over 100,000 miles, 14 times is probably the average.
Maybe
I
have no idea. I knew when I started I was going to get stopped. I really thought I was going to get stopped 8 to 10 times and probably get 2 or 3 tickets. That's kind of what I thought. So, and I was right in there. Stopped a few more times, but that's how many tickets I wound up with. So,
yeah. Again, I think 3 in 100,000 miles is not out of the normal. It might, but it doesn't seem like it.
I guess if you're obeying the speed limit, it's pretty bad.
Well, yeah, but I don't think everybody does.
Yeah.
However, we always advise it. So
that's right.
That's right. Do you have any predictions for 2022? How many miles you're going to get through? How many miles you're going to put down?
I don't have a plan on anything. I'm just gonna, do my normal riding, the same contests and challenges that are out there. I'll just do that, and everybody always asks how are you going to top it or what that, and that's not what I'm looking for. It's not. I didn't do it just to now I got to do better, and now I got to do better. It's just kind of those one-off things that I did it, and I'll go back to my same type of riding. I'm not looking to exceed that or do anything outrageous or whatever. Go from there. I'll be there to support the next guy who wants to step up and break that record.
Do you? It seems to me I've heard you say something about this. Are you planning on possibly doing something like this again?
I mean, I would love to. I really thought when I started that it was just going to be one of those absolutely grueling, barely finish. If I was even able to finish, and it was just going to be a nightmare. But it was actually insanely fun. I just had an amazing amount of fun on the ride, and it wasn't anything like I thought it was going to be. So, yeah, I would absolutely love to do it again.
Well, we'll be there cheering you on for sure. Before we get to your 5 questions, Paco's episode 1 is the only one that's aired before we recorded this one, and you did hear it. So you have a distinct advantage over the previous 2 recordings. Is you've heard these 5 questions before, but before I ask you these, do you have any sponsors or people you would like to thank?
Oh yeah. Republic Harley Davidson. Again, they step up. They've taken care of me. Service. As I've mentioned several times before. Pretty much every 10,000 miles or so, I was swinging back through there for service. And they were getting me in and out as quickly as possible, making sure everything was right. Just took care of me all around. Carol Burks had suspended by Smarty. Everybody knows him with Olin's. He's just an amazing guy as far as suspension and stuff, shocks on a bike, and just gets everything just dialed in, tailored to you individually. So I would highly recommend, if you're anywhere close or even not close, just take a trip up there, just outside of Dallas, have him get you set up. Makes a world of difference. You with the Wild Ass cushion, that's obviously a game changer in the whole thing. I mean, once you get that thing dialed in, it's night and day. And I tell people, day 100 felt just like day 1. So
I appreciate that. I've read that on a number of different posts, so thank you for that.
Yeah. And just everybody, everyone who who donated and supported and followed along and messaged and called and met up with me. I'm sure I'm forgetting someone. My wife, who kind of took care of things at home. She worried about it a lot, so I know that was kind of tough being gone all that time. So
yeah, I think what was one of the awards that you didn't win was Husband of the Year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, I mean, everyone. I mean, it was just the main goal was to try to hit that number, raising the money for the kids and everything, and we did it. Kind of at the end, I was kind of getting bummed when it's getting close, and we still were sitting around, I don't know, 60,000-70,000 or something, and it's kind of thinking we weren't going to make it or whatever. But yeah, final push and got over the hump and hit the number. So it's just one of those rides to where which rarely happens, but every single thing just fell into place and went right. A few hiccups here and there, but you expect that, that's going to happen. Just kind of overcame that and got it finished out.
Yeah, very cool. One thing I have to ask you, because you'd mentioned,
and right, yeah, he was right. Mile Monster was just taking care of everything behind the scenes, keeping everything on track, keeping the word out there, and just everything that he's done and taking care of, getting connected with these kids and all that while I was out there. I mean, I couldn't ask for anyone better to be in that role and handle that part of it. So I don't think either of us knew how it was going to go or even what was going on. I called him and said, "Hey, I got an idea. I can get $100,000 for your charity. Are you interested?" He's like, "Absolutely." And a week later, he was down here in Houston. We went to breakfast. He had two of his boost fighter brothers with him, and we were just sitting there like, "All right, this is what I want to do." 100,000 miles in 100 days. We're all just kind of sitting there like, "Yeah, that's insane," but not really knowing, how it was going to go or anything like that. And then over the next, I think that was in January, and then July, boom, I'm on the road.
No, it's very cool. One thing I wanted to ask you, you made the comment earlier that you hurt every day when you were riding.
Yes.
Where? And was it just from being seated all day, or what was?
Oh, everywhere. I mean, arms, back, legs. I mean, just from riding that long. One thing I didn't even think about or realize was walking. It was just, really the only walking I did was if I had to go into the gas station to get a receipt or go to the bathroom or get something. So from the gas pump to inside, that was pretty much it. I mean, when it's time to sleep, and stayed in a lot of hotels, I'd walk into the hotel, but that was it. I mean, 18, 20 hours a day just sitting on a motorcycle with no walking. So
yeah,
that's why I decided that one day when I went over to park the bike and took the ferry over to Mackinac Island for 4 or 5 hours. And I think I walked around about 3.5 miles or so, 3.5, 4 miles. It just, man, it felt amazing just to
get up and move.
Yeah, just to move, get the blood circulating, just get off the bike for a good amount of time, and not just be sleeping. I mean, if I was off the bike, I was sleeping.
Sure.
So yeah, just to be moving around and walking, it felt good. It made all the difference. So a lot of those little things on a ride like this, you just have to know when it's time to take a break. Even though you fall a little bit behind, you'll more than make up for it in the long run. Just by being fresh.
Valid point. Did you lose any weight?
I gained a few pounds.
Did you? Okay,
yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, yeah. I guess just eating shit. I tried starting out, which that's funny. I'll tell you about this. So I started out. Obviously, I knew I was going to have to, try to take care of my body as much as I could and eat right and healthy and just some vegetables and all that. And I guess I just wasn't eating enough and I don't remember what day it was. It was in the 20s, day 20 something. I was starving so bad, like I hadn't eaten in 3 weeks. And I just went into a restaurant and I just ordered a ton of stuff. I mean, a couple of appetizers, a couple of entrees, desserts. I mean, I spent like $100 and something on this meal. Didn't eat half. I just wanted all this food in front of me and just stuffed myself. And it was a horrible decision. I felt bad for 2 days afterwards. So that was definitely the wrong thing to do. So I just had to get back and just kind of figure out how much I needed to eat and what was working. So kind of had to change some things up there. And that's some stuff you kind of figure out on the road. I mean, on a 1, 2, or 3 day ride, you can kind of plan for that and what it's going to take. Even on the Hoka Hay or the IBR, you can kind of punish yourself and punish your body and you'll be okay. You'll be able to make it to the end. But, I knew there was no way I was going to be able to do that for 100 days.
Right.
So it took some time to figure out what I needed and to make it work.
Huh. I'm taking notes here, by the way. The 5 questions. Here's the first one. What is something you believe that other people think is insane?
Something I believe?
Yeah, something that you believe that others think is insane.
Oh, anything's possible. I mean, there were tons of people who said there's no way on this ride, tons of doubters who said it was impossible, couldn't do it. Just, no way possible. They've been riding 50 years and nobody can do that. And it's just one of those things, obviously you can do it, put your mind to it. You can, like the saying, you can do anything, and you can. Now that I've done it, there'll be plenty of people behind me who done it like it was nothing. So yeah, concept's been proven. So now to be done time and time again.
Okay. I like that one. Okay, so the next question. This could be an investment of money, time, energy, or other resources. But what is the best or most worthwhile investment you have made to your riding?
To riding, I would just say, I think you just have to go with the gear, just from a safety factor. You just like anything else, it's not if, it's when you go down or whatever. So I totaled my 2019 limited in Big Bend when I hit a pig, and luckily, I had full climb gear that I didn't have anything. I mean, I messed up, sprained my ankle, but other than that, I mean, I didn't have any, road rash or anything major wrong with me. I was able to get up and just, everything was fine. So I just think the gear is just, I've seen so many people, so have had friends who've same thing, had so many wrecks and just come out virtually unscathed or nothing major. That is absolutely the gear that made a difference.
The next question: what is the worst advice you see or hear being dispensed in your world?
In the world of riding, the worst advice, I guess people just a generic statement. I see people all the time, whether it's talking about IBA rides or the Hoka Hay or whatever. It's, oh yeah, just get out there. You just have to ride 24 hours straight the first couple of days or whatever, and it's not the case. It's just a horrible blanket statement. Like we talked about earlier, you have to ride your ride. If 600, 700, 800 miles is all you can do ever, and it, then stick to that. When you start pushing beyond your limits, that's when the trouble comes. So you can't just listen to some ridiculous blanket statement like that.
Yep, good. So, do you have any asks or requests of the audience? Anything we can do for you?
Oh man, I really don't. I've done so much. I mean, I've just been so grateful for what's already been done. I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, when you think about it, that's $100,000 raised in basically 3 months is just insane. For someone who, I'm not a professional fundraiser or charity or anything like that. It's just basically word of mouth and social media that just everyone just went above and beyond. I mean, I definitely couldn't ask for anything else.
Where can we follow Hops Adventures?
Facebook mainly, Instagram. I'm on Instagram, Hops Adventures. Still trying to figure out Instagram. Figure it out. I'm just not the best on there, but yeah, I try to post stuff on both of those places. Like I said, I post most of the stuff on Facebook.
Is it just Chris Hopper?
Yes.
On Facebook?
Correct. And Hops Adventures on Instagram.
Okay. Is there an underscore in there?
There is. Hops _ Adventures.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I know I follow it, but I couldn't remember exactly what it was. So follow this guy. What you got working on there?
Oh, no. Alarm was going off, so I turned it off.
Okay. So follow this guy at on Facebook at Chris Hopper or on Instagram at Hops _ Adventures. Hopper, any last parting words before we close this out?
I really don't. I appreciate you having me on. I'll tell you a quick funny story from the road. I think it was where was it? It's in Utah, and I had just come through like the day before or 2 days before I'd come. I spent like 6 hours in this rainstorm. I usually tried to avoid the weather, but this one I really had to push through. And I may have told you this on the other one, but when I got to the hotel, it was like the next night. I don't know, spent like 30 minutes getting rained on or whatever. It was no big deal at all. And this guy walked in, big guy, little bitty bike. He had just bought the bike. We were standing there to check in. He was soaking wet. Just telling me he just bought that bike like 3 months ago. He just got his motorcycle license, took off on this trip. I don't remember where he was from, but he said he had just like 3,500 mile trip planned, and he was 600 miles in that day and just getting poured on in the rain. And you could just see it in his eyes, and he was smiling. He was having a great time. I mean, even though it was just horrible conditions, he was just having a great time, and you could just kind of see the excitement. And that's when he asked what I was doing. I'm like, I asked if I got rained on, all that. I'm like, no, like I'm like, I did like 200 miles today. You got me beat. So
Oh, you told him that, huh?
yeah, yeah. He had a good time with it. I mean, hopefully he got a good story out of that, going back and telling all his friends that, yeah, I looked outside. This guy had this big expensive bike and all this high dollar gear and all that. He could only ride 200 miles, and I was 600 miles in the rain. And it was just funny being there. But you could just see the excitement on his face, and he was just having such a good time with it. And that's what it's about, just getting out there and having fun. So I thought that was funny.
Absolutely. And that speaks volumes about you and your character right there. It's let him have his glory. That is very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. It was a good time. And that's what I said. He was doing it right. He was out there riding, and that's what I like to see. Just people get out there and ride more,
Yeah. So I have not heard that story. Thank you for sharing that.
Okay.
And hopefully everybody learns another valuable lesson, not only about you, but how to treat others on the road, because that's really the right way to do it. Let them have it.
Yeah.
So appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much. And we will definitely be staying in touch.
Definitely. Sounds good. I appreciate you having me. Thanks for letting me come on.
Absolutely. Guys, hit the subscribe button to this podcast if you liked it. If it sucked, just ignore it and move on. But thank you for listening. This has been episode 3 of the Wild Ass Podcast. I am Wild Ass Craig, and we have been listening to Chris Hopper at Hops Adventures. Thank you all.
Sounds good. Thanks.